Hi everyone, and thanks for joining me here on Herzography. Why does a nodal rail belong in every photographer's camera bag? I'll tell you, there are just some pieces of camera gear that you buy for one specific purpose, and then you discover that they're actually useful for a whole lot more. A nodal rail is one of those pieces of equipment. When most photographers hear the term nodal rail, they immediately think of panoramic photography. And that makes perfect sense because one of the primary reasons for using a nodal rail is to position your camera so that you can rotate it around the lens's entrance pupil and avoid some stitching problems that can occur when shooting panoramas. And I'll talk about that in another video. But today I want to talk to you about the other reasons I think a rail, specifically a nodal rail, belongs in every camera bag. Because even if you never shoot a panorama, a simple rail can be incredibly useful. In fact, there have been plenty of times when I've been reaching into my bag and thought, I'm really glad I brought this with me. And there are three situations where I find a rail particularly useful. Just want to give a shout out to ProMediaGear, who sent me a number of different rails and clamps to test and to talk about as we're looking at different ways of using a rail that are in this video. So once again, big shout out to ProMediaGear. Really appreciate being able to show all of your different products that you have available for photographers. First, of course, is panoramas. Second is balancing your camera and lens on a tripod. And third, getting your camera into position that you simply can't reach by moving the tripod. And that last one is something that can be especially useful for macro photography. So let's take a look at why I think this is one of those inexpensive little pieces of gear that can solve some surprisingly big problems. So what is a rail? Before we get into all the uses, let's talk about what we're actually talking about. A rail is essentially a long mounting plate that allows you to move your camera forward and backward while it remains attached to your tripod head. Instead of moving the entire tripod, you can loosen the clamp and the rail will slide with the camera back and forth. They usually have an Arca-Swiss groove on both the top and bottom. That's the basic idea. A nodal rail is simply a rail designed with panoramic photography in mind, usually with a longer range of adjustments and markings and a clamp that allow you to precisely position the camera. And that's important for panoramas. But here's the thing, you don't have to use it just for panoramas. A rail is really just a way of giving your camera some additional movement, and that's why I think it's worth carrying. All right, so let's talk about panoramas, and we'll get the obvious one out of the way first. If you shoot panoramas, a nodal rail can be extremely important. When you rotate the camera around the wrong point, and we'll talk about that later, objects at different distances from the camera can appear to shift relative to one another between frames. That's where you get into problems when you try to stitch those images together. Foreground objects can move relative to the background. You can wind up with mismatched edges, strange overlaps, and other stitching problems. A nodal rail allows you to move the camera forward and backward so that you can position the lens correctly for the particular camera and lens combination you're using. Once you have that position established, you can rotate the camera around the appropriate point, and that can make stitching a panorama so much easier. I'm going to do a separate video showing exactly how I set up a nodal rail for shooting panoramas, because there's more to it than simply putting the camera on a rail and then rotating it. There are measurements involved, and different lenses require different positions, or I really should say different lens focal lengths require different positions. So we'll save that for another video. For today, I just want to concentrate on the things you can do with a rail when you're not shooting a panorama. Balancing a long lens, because this is probably one of the most overlooked uses for a rail. Now, if you're using a fluid head, what I'm saying here might not be an issue for you. So let's say you're using a relatively heavy lens and you put your camera on the tripod. Now, I'm going to assume that you don't have a lens collar, because not all lenses do, or maybe you lost your lens collar, or you don't have it with you, or something like that. So when you go to put your camera on the tripod and attach it, of course you're going to feel like it is very heavy in one direction. So you put your camera on the tripod and attach the camera body directly to the tripod head. Everything is technically mounted correctly, but now look where the weight is. You've got a camera body on one end and a heavy long lens on the other. The heavy lens extending several inches, or perhaps considerably more, out in front of the tripod, and that creates leverage and imbalance. The farther the center of gravity is from the tripod head, the more that weight wants to pull the camera forward and downward. As I mentioned, if your lens has a tripod collar, that usually is, of course, going to be the best place to mount the camera and lens combination. But even then, there are some situations where having some additional adjustment can be useful. And that's where a rail comes in. You can slide the camera and lens forward or backward on the rail until you find a much better balance point. But even then, there are some situations where having some additional adjustment can be useful, and that's where a rail comes in. You can slide the camera and lens forward and backward on the rail until you find a much better balance point. And why does that matter? Because a properly balanced camera is simply easier to work with. And when you're composing a photograph, you don't want to be fighting the weight of the camera. You don't want to loosen your ball head and have the entire camera suddenly want to drop forward because the lens is so heavy. You want the camera to stay where you put it. And a well-balanced setup makes that much, much easier. Balance isn't just about convenience. And there's another reason I like doing this. When you're working from a tripod, particularly when you're making very precise compositions, you want the camera to be stable. If you have a long lens hanging way out in front of the tripod head, you've created a lot of leverage that is going to pull you down. Even if the tripod and head are particularly capable of supporting that weight, which most of them are, the setup may not feel as stable as it could be. By moving the camera's center of gravity closer to the center of the tripod support, you can create a more balanced setup. And sometimes just moving the camera a couple of inches can make a surprising difference. That is especially useful when you're doing something like photographing a distant landscape, wildlife, architectural details, or anything else where you're working with a longer lens and making very precise adjustments. And then there's something else. A rail can give you a little more flexibility than simply mounting your camera directly onto the tripod head. You can make small adjustments to the camera's position without having to move the tripod. That's a theme you're going to hear throughout this video. The rail gives you the movement without moving the tripod, and that can be incredibly valuable. Use number 3 is for macro photography. Now let's get into the application where I think a rail can be absolutely brilliant. In macro photography, if you've ever photographed flowers, insects, small objects, or anything else close up, you've probably encountered this problem. You get your tripod positioned exactly where you want it. You've got your composition, you've got your camera height, you've adjusted everything. And when you look through the viewfinder, you realize you're just a little bit too far. So what do? Well, you move the tripod, and sometimes that's easy, but sometimes it's not. Maybe there's a flower bed in front of you. Maybe you're standing in a garden and the flowers are arranged exactly the way you want them to, and you don't want to move the tripod. Maybe there are rocks, branches, a fence, or some other obstacle that won't let you move the tripod. Or maybe you're photographing something where you simply cannot put your tripod, and that's where you need it. There are also situations where you don't want to move your tripod. For example, you may have your legs positioned perfectly on solid ground. You may have carefully composed your shot so the tripod isn't disturbing anything. Or perhaps you're photographing a bed of flowers and you don't want to step into it. So instead of moving the tripod, move the camera. That's where the rail becomes incredibly useful. So let's say I have my tripod position here. My subject is just a little bit too far away. I could pick up the entire tripod and move it forward, but now I've changed the position of everything. The height changes, the angle may change, the legs might wind up on uneven ground. I may even disturb something in front of me. Instead, I simply loosen the rail and slide the camera forward. Now my camera is closer to the subject. The tripod hasn't moved, the tripod legs haven't moved. My composition can remain almost exactly the same. I've simply extended the reach of the camera, and this can be especially helpful with macro photography because we're often having to make very small adjustments. Sometimes you don't need to move the camera 6 inches. You need to move it maybe a half an inch or an inch, or perhaps just a few millimeters. And there's another reason I really like the rail. It gives you more control over where the camera is positioned. Perhaps not the control of a specialized macro rail, but it works in a pinch. Think of it as a 4th axis. One way I like to think about a rail is that it effectively gives your tripod setup another axis of movement. Normally, you've got your tripod. You can move your tripod forward and backward, left to right. You can change the height. Then you've got your tripod head, which gives you even more control over the camera's position and orientation. But once everything is locked down, sometimes you discover you need just a little bit more movement, and that's where the rail comes in. Instead of moving 3 tripod legs and changing everything you've already established, you simply slide the camera, and that's incredibly convenient. Here's another application that's worth mentioning: focus stacking. Now, there are different ways to approach focus stacking, and I'm not going to suggest that a rail is required for it. But depending on what you're photographing and how you're working, a rail can be useful if you're photographing a stationary subject and you need to make small changes in the camera position. Not the precise movements that you would get in a macro rail, But if you're working extremely close up to your subject, just making these small movements can be significant in your composition. This is one of those situations that having a rail available gives you options. You may not use it every time, but when you need it, it's there. The full discussion turned out to be a little longer than I expected, so I'm going to break this video into 2 parts. So this is part 1, and I'll be posting part 2 very soon, where we'll continue looking at why a rail can be such a useful piece of gear to have in your camera bag. Be sure to check back for part 2. If you found this video helpful, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and hit that notification bell so that you don't miss the next one. And if you'd like more photography tips, inspiration, and ideas, be sure to sign up for my monthly newsletter, The Photographer's Eye. Until next time, get out there, keep looking at the world through your own photographic eye, and now let's all get out and shoot.